Hey guys, Jim here, Mr. Skelton if you're nasty. And I've got a little bit of an overview for you on a knife that I just received. Bought it from a private individual. This was not a brand new purchase, and I tend to shy away from buying used knives whenever possible, but it was what seemed to be a great opportunity, and I jumped on it quickly. Unfortunately, I did not receive a knife in the condition that I expected based on the description, so I'm not 100% certain that I'm going to be keeping it yet. I sent a message to the seller, and we'll see what gets worked out. I believe in humanity. I believe there's good in everybody, so I'm very certain that he didn't intend to misrepresent the knife at all. He said it was in great condition, and maybe his idea of great condition and mine are completely different. So we'll follow up on that story later. But for right now, we'll just get straight into it. This is the Sniper Bladeworks DH, short for Dark Hallow. Apparently, Lance is a big fan of the Grateful Dead. I am not. I don't like the Grateful Dead in any way. And you can see the obvious influence, excuse me, in their corporate logo that is both on the titanium frame and as well as on the blade. You might be looking at the blade going, what is going on there? Is it dirty? Was it dropped in acid? This is a 1095 steel blade. It's 3.7 inches. Looks like a cleaver. I love the shape of the DH blade. But they actually use the Hamon process of manufacturing where you have varying different levels of heat treating and hardening for the blade. So everyone is random. Everyone is going to look completely different. And if you go back in time, that's how, the ancient Chinese, I'm sorry, not Chinese, the ancient Japanese swords were forged, was through that Hamon process. And Lance over at Sniper Blade Works pays homage to that classic style of blade making by doing that from time to time on his knives. Now, not all of the knives are 1095 and not all of the knives are Hamon. But I did search out one that did have it because I wanted to kind of have it and experience it. It is a cool effect. Some people are going to call this the ugliest knife they've ever seen, and some people are going to like it. And, there's going to be people that fall in between the two. It's certainly not the prettiest knife in the world, but not every knife I own I buy based on how pretty it is. I like it for the shape, how it feels in the hand, how utilitarian it is. You'll notice that the blade drops below the handles by a good degree. You can choke up on it, so you can certainly do some fine cutting and slicing tasks with it. It is going to be a good self-defensive blade. Not as overbuilt as I would have believed. The blade stock is very, very thick, but the overall, let me just kind of compare it to other knives that we associate with being overbuilt. We'll bring out the good old Direware Solo V2, and we'll bring out the Crusader Forge Vis T, and you'll see the significant thickness differences between them. This is actually quite slim in comparison to those other two. So, again, I'm not disappointed in that, but it was, I did expect it to be a little bit thicker than it really is. But it actually feels wonderful in the hand. I love the thumb ramp on here. Gives you a feeling of security when you're holding the blade. It is glass smooth. It's not too loose, not too tight. The detent is a little bit weak. And it is a very heavy blade, so that obviously accentuates a weaker detent. I don't find that to be a fault in the manufacturing of the knife. It's just a simple observation. There's the lockup, nice lockup. I'm sorry, the blade centering, very nicely done. We will look at the lockup. Sorry guys, it's been kind of a long morning for me. Got up earlier than usual, didn't get to sleep till noon. Super early lockup, really, really nicely done. There is no lock bar stabilizer, and for such thin titanium, perhaps that may be a consideration for them for the future. Kind of a generic, boring looking pocket clip on here. That can obviously be enhanced. I can do something with that or just change it out and put maybe like a steel flame pocket clip on there if I decide to be keeping this. I don't know that I will or not. I like the effect that they've done here. I'm assuming this is some sort of, yeah, it is. It's laser etching for certain. And the way they were able to get the colors to pop out of it. And now as we get closer, you start to see the condition that I was talking about. And, you know, to me, I would not necessarily call this great, quote-unquote, condition. It's not the worst I've ever seen, but there is a mark on almost every square millimeter on both sides of this knife. It was obviously very heavy in an EDC rotation. The other thing that was disappointing was that the blade is not as sharp as I would have anticipated. Sniper Bladeworks has an excellent reputation for delivering super razor sharp knives. This one is not. So I'm hoping a little bit of stropping might cure that. If not, I'm going to actually have to have it sharpened. So again, that's all only if I keep it. I see where Sniper Bladeworks has earned their reputation. The quality is absolutely there. Again, taking away from the condition of my individually delivered piece. If this would have been bought brand new, that would not be an issue. So please do not take that into account. I think the quality on this is fantastic. One thing I did notice, and this is where you start really nitpicking only because of the cost of the knives. I mean, this is up in that premium level of knife making. You'll notice that when the lock bar is disengaged, when the blade is closed, you don't have a perfectly seamless area here. It's significantly down below the frame. And maybe, again, if it had a stronger detent, a more prominent detent ball, it'd be pushing that out a little bit more and making that level and flush. So again, this is not a major consideration, but when you're spending over $500 and it's a hand-built custom, which is what these are, this is not a production knife that you just order from wherever and they stamp out $10,000 a year. This is a custom. These are the little things that you do start to look at and you do start to nitpick when you're justifying the price. When you look at the hardware, you'll notice that it does protrude. This one does not. This screw does. I don't know if I can get enough of an angle and light in there. Yeah, you should be able to see that nicely. You do feel that with your finger. That would be disappointing, again, for the amount of money spent on a custom. Nice backspacer. Seems fairly straightforward and simple. The action, again, is wonderful. I do not believe they're using bearings in here. This doesn't feel like a bearing system, but it is extraordinarily smooth. The detent's okay for when the blade drops closed. You can actually see how smooth that is when I go just kind of give it a little push. Detent kind of pulls it in a little bit. But overall, I think it's a great knife, and I think had I bought this brand spanking new, I think I would have been much happier with it. And I think it's something that I definitely would want to be carrying. It is like carrying a little cleaver, though. Look how mean that blade looks. And actually, if you just kind of cover up the rest here, and you just look at it from there, assuming that's the eye, it kind of looks like some kind of dinosaur or something. I mean, it's just a mean, wicked, ugly looking blade. Ugly in a good way. I'd actually made a comment to a buddy of mine about a new knife that he got. He just got a Jake Hoback. And Hobacks, as we all know, are just superior. Their quality, they're amazing. And I told him, I said, that is one hell of an ugly knife, but ugly in a good way. It's a mean, tough-looking, post-apocalyptic, son of a bitch. And I think he kind of took it the wrong way and actually got offended. So seriously, that's not what I intend. I mean, this, and I actually made that comparison in a follow-up comment. This knife is ugly. But it's ugly in a good way. It's ugly like a pit bull. There's nothing attractive about a pit bull, but there's something about them that you love. The same can be said for a number of different animals. So this is so ugly that it's cool. I did like this pattern. It was offering another Sniper Bladeworks in the sale at the same time. I just preferred this because it was a larger knife. I liked having something a little bit different because really no two are alike unless you get some of the lesser expensive G10 models. But when they get into the titaniums, there's always going to be a different pattern or a different texture or a different overlay or different engravings. So I really kind of dug having the logo in here and the way that it was done in that laser etching. Very slick, very cool. So another very short video, just because I'm not invested in this. I'm not married to it. This may be something that grows on me. When I speak to the seller, if this is the kind of thing where, you know, he says, hey, buddy, screw you, I don't offer refunds, and I end up keeping it, we'll have to see how it grows on me through daily carry. And I think it will. I think once it's sharpened up and I get over the fact that, you know, it's certainly got some abuse on it, I think once I get past those two things, I will be much more impressed with it. But right now, I am impressed by the blade. It looks fantastic. It just needs to perform as good as it looks. So that's it for me right now. I'm going to take a little bit of a break for a few days. I do have some more goodies coming tomorrow morning, guaranteed by noon. My Gen 4 3.5-inch Spanto Flipper XM18 should be arriving. I have a carbon fiber scale arriving for that the day after. I think that might be the last knife for a little bit of time, so I'm not going to have quite as many videos to upload as far as new stuff goes, but you never know. Every now and then I come across a deal I just can't say no to, so I will try to keep things up. Thank you to all of my subscribers, both old and new. I appreciate all of you, and I just really love the positive feedback that I've been getting. Thank you guys so much for your activity and all the comments that you're leaving. It makes me feel good, and I do my best to try to respond to almost all of them whenever I can. So again, thank you very much, and I'll be seeing you soon.